This is Jamie Drummond for Good Food Revolution. I am joined today by two people from outside of the province, David Côte and Pascale Larouche, who are joining us from Loop, based in Montreal, of all places. How are the two of you today?
Pretty
Very
good. Thanks for
good.
asking, Jamie.
Excellent, excellent. Now, David, you are the co-founder of Loop, and Pascal, you kind of head up the PR, so you're here to make sure I don't ask any really awkward questions. That's fine. That's fine. Um, Now, I'm going to start by looking at the kind of Loop mission statement, and I'd love you to expand upon that somewhat. So, Loop is a circular economy company fighting food waste by repurposing the outcasts of the food industry. I find that absolutely fascinating. For those people who don't understand what the circular economy is, would you mind expanding upon that?
Yeah, of course. Well, circular economy is basically creating value without extracting any resources. So we're looking at what's wasted out there in general. We work with the food, but circular economy can be with anything. It can be in technology, it can be in forestation, it can be in construction. Well, it can be in any goods and services out there. But we specifically work with food. So we look at what is wasted in the industry in terms of food, at the farm level, at the manufacturing level, at the grocery and distribution level. We look at it all, and we try to find a way to take back these ingredients that normally will have been a waste and also a financial loss for the company that wastes them, and we transform them back into a product that can be actually sent back to the consumers. So this is what we do in a nutshell.
I was reading that something like 59% of the food waste in Canada is from the food distribution system, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, more than 58% is wasted in North America, Canada specifically, and 78% of that waste comes from the industry. So,
Yeah.
we're, most of the waste doesn't come from the consumer for getting an apple or a kale stem in their fridge. It comes mostly because of the industry in general, because of there's a lot of speculation out there, right? So we never know how much we're going to sell. So most of importer or distributor always need to have a little more just to make sure that they can supply all of their customer, and that little extra is the waste, and that waste comes in big quantity in the industry, basically.
One of the reasons I understood this perfectly was for many years I went down to the food terminal here in Toronto and did a number of interviews with one of the food distributors here. And I was seeing these enormous containers of food that was being discarded. And I think one of the things that many people don't understand is a lot of that food that is thrown away is not rotten food. It's not bad food. It's just food that would not last the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days in the food distribution network. So if it's being purchased by a mom and pop store, it's not going to last long enough on the shelf there. So it's actually perfect food. It's possibly just a little bit underripe, and or not overripe for sure. And I'll tell you this story, which I've not really told too many people, but people in Toronto know it. Many years ago, a very famous Toronto chef, who shall remain nameless, caught on to this and was notorious for sending his cooks out to the food terminal early in the morning to go into these skips and containers of all the discarded food, take it back to his restaurant, prepare it, and serve it in tasting menus, which had the top ticket price in Toronto. And some of those people listening to this today, watching this today, will know exactly who that was. Anyway, I digress.
He had a
That's
good
amazing.
idea.
But
Yeah, exactly. He was
yeah.
way before his time.
And you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Most of food waste comes from speculation, and because there's a cycle of distribution, right?
Yes.
So,
Yep.
and that's what that's why I was shocked. 4 years ago when we started a project, it all started from a phone call. I got a phone call from a guy named Frédéric, and he told me he was throwing away between 16 tons and 25 tons of fruits and vegetables every single day of the year. And when I visited his warehouse and he showed me what he was throwing away, I just couldn't believe it. It was perfectly ripe, perfectly fine produce from all sorts that were just absolutely fine to eat today or tomorrow in a few days. But
Yes.
he
Yeah.
explained to me that concept that you just told, that grocery stores such as Loblaws, Metro, Sobeys wouldn't buy them because the cycle of distribution was already too short.
Yes,
So they
exactly.
need
Yeah.
to buy something that's going to last at least 2 weeks so that they can redistribute it to their stores and they have time to put it on the shelf and consumers have time to buy it and bring it to their fridge. So that whole cycle basically destroys the life of many produce.
Now, I'm assuming that you came into contact with this food distributor through your involvement in the restaurant industry.
Yeah, well, it was mostly because of my involvement in Rice Kombucha. I had a beverage company called Rice
Oh, yes,
Kombucha,
yes, yes, yeah.
where I'm still partly owner, and it was a customer. He was drinking my products every day, and I never heard of him. He didn't know me either. He just thought he should call me because I was giving lots of conferences and I was seen as the innovation in the food world in Montreal or in Eastern Canada. So he just did a cold call. He just randomly called me. I had no idea how he was, but as soon as he told me how much he was wasting, it got me very curious. And when I met him and he showed me everything was showing, I left everything. I sold my restaurant business. I sold a piece of my kombucha company. And my wife, who was in sustainability and Baker Corporation, also sold her house, and we started the project full time.
And how big was this project when it was the original startup? How many employees did you have?
It was just Julie and I. It was my wife and I
Wow.
looking at the data. It's a lot of data. Right?
Yes,
The
yeah.
circular economy. You have to look at the sell sheets and the data sheets from all of those suppliers to know what they're wasting exactly, so that we can create a product that makes sense with what's out there. So we analyzed the data for a while, Julie and I, and then we created recipes according to this data, this waste data, and we started the company with a co-packer. So it was just Julie and I from our apartment. I went from having 120 employees to having 0 employees
Right.
and one partner, working like back to a startup, and I loved it. And our co-packer was making the juice recipes that we created for him, and I was distributing myself. So I bought a little refrigerated van and I started distributing,
Oh, cool.
and that was 4 years ago, 4 years
Right,
and a half
right.
ago. And then slowly but surely, it grew and grew and grew fast, and we got some media attention. And we went from having 4 juices to having a line of products. Beers made with bread, juice made with produce, soaps made with discarded oil from a fast food chain. Soon, a
Probiotic
new product coming
soda.
out with
Yeah.
probiotic soda, exactly.
Mhm.
A new line coming for the spec grains from the brewery. So we have all kinds of products. And our vision is really to be in every single aisle of the grocery store with a circular economy based product.
I think you missed out your gin there.
That's what I
It's
was gonna
true.
Yeah,
say.
okay, yeah.
We now have a gin.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh,
Actually, the gin, just so you know, is now available at LCBO. So
yeah.
we're very, very excited about it. It's already available in Quebec, but we're now launching in Ontario. So that's really exciting. The gin, actually, I like to tell this story, and probably David will fill in the gaps, but you know how for a chip company, the potato has to go through a cutter to make perfectly round
Right,
chips
right.
that we all enjoy and consume. But those little knobs or potato that doesn't have the perfectly good shape, they get the scraps that get from that cutter is actually what we used to make the gin.
So it's
So
not
people
just the peel. It's not just the peel. You actually get a fair bit of the potato as well, right?
exactly,
Ah, yes,
exactly.
yes,
And
yes, yes.
actually, I don't think it's that much peel. It's really about the potato. It's like the little knobs at the
I
end
see.
or
They
parts of the
actually
potato.
yeah, they actually they peel the potatoes to make their chips. So there's actually no peels in our gin. It's only
Oh,
freshly cut pieces of potatoes that we
I
just peel and make
see. I
a
see.
95% liquor out of it, and then we make the gin with the lime and ginger.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. It's really refreshing and it has a unique taste to it because there's ginger and lime. So people expect to just taste the alcohol factor, but you really have a good citrusy taste when you taste it. So that's pretty unique.
Well, those boys at that distillery certainly know what they're doing. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And what's amazing about this gin is that, at Loop, when we started, we were just a juice company, and we were not expecting to launch so many lines of products, right? But the gin is a good example of how it happened. Just in an event, a food event, and we got a trophy, an award for food innovation, and we said to the microphone, you know, to all of the people in the audience, we said, you know, if anybody here chose food in their food manufacturing, because it was all, you know, it was a food event, so it was all food manufacturers, please call us and we'll find a solution. And the lady sitting at our table was the president of Crispy Kernel, and she straight up told us, well, I'm throwing away potato cuttings, can you help us out? So at that specific event, it happened that, you know, we got the potato ideas, and then I started calling distilleries, and 6 months later we had a gin. So this is how it goes, you know, it's just people calling us and telling us what they're wasting.
Very good, very good. I fear that gin may be my downfall, so thank you for that. It's something I've been enjoying a little bit too much lately.
Yeah, the gin is made with potato cuttings from a chips company, Crispy Kernel there. So yeah, we do this too. I most of the time when I enumerate all of our products, I forget a few. And this is my.
Well, you have such a line.
The baby.
Well, that's Julie. Hello there.